Welcome to our weekly group meeting for the Software Supply Chain Security Working Group. I have just a couple of questions here. Looks like we don't have everyone on, and I apologize because I put my questions in really late, so I didn't have the full 24 hours in advance. But we'll see how many we can get through. So I'm wondering, do we have anyone on the team who can help with the front end work for the user experience for signed container registry images? I know technically everyone here are backend engineers. We don't have anybody who's actually a front end engineer, but wondering if anyone feels comfortable taking that on anyway.
For me, I would say I could do like some really basic front end work, but I feel like this is gonna be kind of JS heavy with Vue. So probably not gonna work for me.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I could give it a shot. Do we not have any front end team members in the working group?
So we had Daniel, but he ended up getting pulled off for AI.
I
And
see.
anyway, so I can work to get an actual front end developer back in the working group, whether it's Daniel or somebody else. But it does feel like most of our front end work is really light and more of like a temporary thing than the back end work that has a pretty long roadmap associated with it. So I was just trying to feel out whether there's somebody already on the team who might be able to take that on in sort of a very temporary full stack capacity type thing, or if we need to go find an actual front end developer to come in and help.
I think one of us should be able to take it on. And if we need help with something, we can probably just ask, pair with someone on the front end. It seems, yeah, I agree that the front end work seems relatively small. So maybe we can do it.
Okay. Maybe I can at least find a front end developer that can sort of help mentor or be available for questions without pulling them off of their current workload entirely to come over to this.
That'd be nice because it's less commitment from them and it'll help us because we'll have someone to go to with questions.
Okay, I will try to do that. Yeah, I think that would be less disruptive. I'm just a little bit hesitant to pull somebody off of their current work just to help out here for a tiny bit. And then, it's just the more context switching you give people, the harder it is. So if they can kind of at least keep doing their current workload and maybe just assist a little bit, I'm sure that would be
Yeah.
a lot easier.
Maybe that's just someone on the team whose area we're working in, like whoever owns the front end components that we're going to modify. Like during
Yeah.
refinement, maybe we can reach out to them to say what's the best way to accomplish this.
Yeah, that is true. We may be able to get some help from like the registry team or one of their front end engineers. That's a great idea. Okay, so item number 2, I just wanted to confirm. So once 16.2 is done and we finish shipping the CI/CD signing integration with Cosign, at least my understanding was the plan was to go back to priority 1 on the list, which is actually the research spike into signing build artifacts by default. I think Brian was going to take that on. Perhaps I can't remember exactly what he said. I think it was next milestone because he was already full this milestone, but I think that's the next step after this. I just wanted to confirm that we're all on board with that, and then B, ask if there's any way I can help facilitate that. If I need to reach out to some of the engineers on the runner team or start setting up some calls just to talk through any of that. I don't know what would be helpful here.
I think personally from my side, there's some follow-up work related to the signing work we're shipping in 16.2 So I will probably be busy with some of that. But I think I do remember that Brian said something about taking it on. And yeah, I think there's a bunch of older discussion threads where we
Mhm.
even have people talking through what the architecture might look like. So I think there's a lot of
We
good
do.
discussion to go through there. I feel like we have enough information. Oh, Brian is here. Maybe he
Brian, you're
can
here.
help us. Hey, Brian.
Hi, how's it going? Do you have what were you talking about?
So we're on number 2 in the agenda, but we're talking about once we finish this integration with Cosine, I know the plan was to do that research spike into how we can automatically sign build artifacts by default in the GitLab runner. I think, Brian, you were going to do that research spike. I can't remember the timing around that. I think you said you were going to start that in 16.2, but I don't remember.
Right. So I don't remember what we discussed before, but I don't think we're going to need a spike for it though. I think we can just do just create issues and refine them. It would definitely be helpful to have someone from the runner team to help us out. I am wondering if they have like a prescribed way for us to run cosine, because you know it's a different program from GitLab runner.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the person who I've been working with before, well, I can dig up his name. I can at least send you a name of the person who did all of the attestation work before. And I'm assuming that's probably the best person to coordinate with there. But it might be good just to meet with Darren as well. Just to confirm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to go look up that name, but I'll send it to you later. Okay, if that would be helpful, I'm happy to start making those connections or set up some discussions. I just want to make sure that I get my timing right. So when would be the best time for that? Is it too soon still, or is it about right?
When would be the best timing for what I missed?
Oh, when would be the best timing to set up some discussions with the runner team, or to connect you with their engineer, or to start talking with their product manager, Darren?
Okay, yeah, I should be able to start doing that, you know, now. I do have a little bit of work that I'm wrapping up, but I can start working on that also.
Okay, great. I will do. All right, so number 3, I'm just wondering, does anyone have contacts in their network who work at Docker? I know we talked about previously that if we want to automatically sign Docker images, we might need to actually contribute to the Docker CLI. And if that is the case, I would like to start that partnership and those discussions earlier rather than later, because anytime you have 2 companies coordinating, things can move really slowly. So even if we're several months out from doing the development work there, I'm hoping to start that, but I don't know anyone who works at Docker. Just wanted to ask around and see if anyone else does.
Yeah, I did know somebody who worked on security at Docker, but I'm pretty certain he's not there anymore.
Okay.
But the developer evangelism team might know somebody, and if they don't, then reaching out through the community might work.
That's a good idea too. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I can just cold contact somebody through LinkedIn, but I would prefer a warm introduction if I can get one.
Right.
Okay. And then number 4. Ali, that's you.
Yeah, I was just asking if we should prioritize supporting keyless signing when the CI config is located outside of the project. For our 16.2 release, we only support signing if the CI config is in the project, which should cover the majority of projects. But for example, we don't support auto DevOps, or if the CI config is located in another repo or pointing at an arbitrary URL.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. I forgot about all that follow-on work. So I think we should prioritize that at priority 3, the same place as the work that we had before. So that would still put it lower than the user experience for signed container registry images. And that would put it lower than getting started on the default, signing build artifacts by default.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. And I think that's everything I had. Actually, since you're here, Brian, I'd like to just circle up back up to number 1 for a minute. Do you have any front end experience? Do you feel like
No, I'm not very
okay.
confident with front end.
All right. Ali was saying maybe he could help some, especially if we found another front end to act as a mentor. So we'll probably try that. If I need to get a front end engineer to come over into the working group, we can do that. It's just probably going to be disruptive to them to pull them off of their work just to help with this for a short time and then put them back. So I was
Yeah.
hoping to avoid that if possible, but
Yeah, like I can do really simple stuff. Like I can only really do front end if there's like existing code that I can copy from somewhere. If I have to do something from scratch, I'm not going to be able to figure it out.
yeah. And I actually, the front end is probably my strongest point personally. I can do some front end coding as well, but I'm also not a front end developer. So especially if I can get help with some of the tests and things, usually I can make it work, but we'll see. Okay. I'll see who we can get to help us with that so that we can actually ship that one. Cool. Well, that's all I have. Is there anything else to discuss today? Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.